Hi everybody, how's it going today? Thanks for watching another video. If you recall, last video I'd mentioned that we had lost some videos when we transferred them over from the camera to the computer here about a week ago. So I had to refilm a little bit for this video here. I didn't want the rest of the videos to go to waste. So I'm by our hay shed here, North Hay Shed. Been stacking small straw square bales in our hay shed here. Had a little bit of a break. They hauled quite a few here about a week ago. I hadn't filmed any of that, but I thought it made sense to film some here today, so I put my drone up in the air when I was unloading the first load, and then my dad took over from me after that. So we've got about 12,000 of these small squares coming, and they put them in bundles. So they're in bundles of 14, so we can just handle them with the forks and the telehandler. We've got 3 loads coming tomorrow morning, and then after that it's going to be depending on how much space we have, we'll fill the shed up, but we'll need another 2 at least to get to 12,000. And then yeah, we're going to take a few more if we've got the room for it. And we've also been hauling round bales here, and round bales have been getting delivered to the farm. So the second part of the video will be me in the fields. I was loading round bales, and then Sam came later on and took over, but I think we lost some of that footage. But we had 2 tractors in the field with 2 trailers loading round bales about I don't know, maybe 7-8 miles from the farm. They baled around 200 bales right before we got some rain, and they actually started baling again here this afternoon, or at least that was the plan. I haven't heard otherwise, I guess. But we also started on corn silage here today. So normally we're done with straw before we start on silage, but it's been really cool. A lot of fog in the morning, so not very good for making straw or even combining wheat or barley. So it's been a little bit delayed there, but hopefully should be able to continue getting those bales delivered and hauled home, and keep the silage choppers going. But the next videos will be chopping corn. And then I ended the video just looking at a cornfield, kind of showing you guys how we make, or how I decide which fields to start on, what I'm looking for, and when to make the decision when to start. Just yeah, wanted to kind of describe what's going on in this video, because we did lose some videos in the middle and the beginning. Try to make sense of it all, but I didn't want to let the videos go to waste, so hopefully that makes sense. We'll yeah, start this video by us unloading some of these small squares. They usually come with 3 trailers, 2 behind the pickup, and then 1 semi. Was unloading the trailer behind the pickup, the first trailer that came here this morning. So yeah, we'll put that in the video right here. And Ian's with me because a dog showed up at the farm, or at our house actually. Taryn called me with no collar, so we actually brought it to the farm and called around a little bit, or sent some messages, but haven't figured out yet whose dog it is. And the sheriff posted it on Facebook, so hopefully we hear from somebody soon, because Ramsey, our dog, was not a real fan of having another dog around. So it's actually in the office at the dairy, because since we are chopping, there's a lot of trucks driving around, and this looks like a younger dog, so I don't want the dog to get run over by one of those trucks. So hopefully we hear from somebody soon. Otherwise, I'm not really sure what we're gonna do with the dog. There's no pound in town here, so hopefully we'll figure that out by the end of the night. It's 6 o'clock already, but they just posted on Facebook here 30 minutes ago or so, or maybe probably longer ago, an hour and a half maybe. So hopefully we'll hear back soon on that. What do you want to do, Ian? Should we take another silage sample?
Try this out.
Is that a feather?
Just try it.
I'm in a field here of our neighbors. This is going to be a field for silage. This is a field that we've chopped silage off of every other year for probably the last 10 years or so. Corn looks pretty good. If I had to guess, I'd say it's about 11-12 feet tall here, it looks like. So I know most of these fields pretty good, so I try to go in spots where I think the corn is going to be average. I don't want to pick the worst spots, and I don't want to pick the best spots either. Trying to get an idea of what the average of the field is. So I'll usually peel some of these back. That one is fully dented all the way. Look at a few more. These are pretty good looking cobs here. Just about fully dented on that one. Grab one more here. Looks like we're just about fully dented on that one, and then what I'll do is I'll break this in half, and then we'll see how much milk is still in the kernels, essentially. Trying to figure out, we want the kernels to be starchy, but we don't want them to, we want to harvest it pretty much essentially at that point where like a three-quarter milk line roughly, that there's still a little bit of milk in the kernels, but just about all starting to harden out, or get starchy anyways, not milky. Let's break this one in half here. So got one broken in half, and what I usually do is I'll grab the end of my pen. So poke on the kernels. Try to find, see there's still liquid coming out. Maybe halfway up the kernel roughly. I don't know how good you guys are gonna be able to see that, but there's milk still about halfway up the kernel, so that in theory is 50% milk line, half milk line. Trying to get to about 3/4. So this field is getting close. So I think I'd look, the field I want to start on is a little further along than this, and base that off of when these fields tassel to get a starting point, and then I'll go a week prior to chopping, go into the fields again to see where the kernel development is. And this is real close to being ready to go. And looking at the plants, the bottom leaves have started to brown up and die off, so that is a good indicator that I think we're going to be real close on the whole plant moisture also. I have in the past taken stalks from fields and chopped them up and burned them down to get an idea. I don't know, it seems like that gives me a little bit of an idea, but going off the kernels, that works too. That's probably, I think, actually the better way to do it. But we want both things. We want good whole plant moisture, and we also want that kernel, that cobs, to be at the right stage of development. We don't want to wait too long, because we're gonna lose digestibility at that point, and if we get too dry whole plant moisture, then it's gonna not ferment good in the pile. And in my experience, too dry of silage, even if we're past 35% dry matter, just doesn't seem to do as good in the cows. The cows don't do as well on silage when we get past 35%. At least that's been my experience on our farm. So we try to the goal is to be between 32 and 35. If we're even if we're at 30, when we start, we'll keep going, because it'll get drier as we go, obviously. Yeah, definitely going to be this will be the second field we're going to. First chopper we'll start on, it's 160 acres. This should take them a day and a half or so roughly, if things go good, maybe a little less even. And then that chopper will come to this field more than likely, and then hopefully by that time the second chopper is here, and they'll start on another field south of the dairy. So this field is north of the dairy, along with the field that we're going to start on. So I usually walk in a ways, check a few kernels, and walk, I don't know, 50 feet one way or the other, check a few more, and then I'll go to a few spots in the field depending on how big the field is, and if I think I need to look at another spot to get a better idea. But I know this field here pretty good since we have chopped corn off of this field quite a few times, so I'm pretty confident with going here second. And then all of our own corn around the farm, that will be last more than likely by the looks of it. Those are started to dent, and few varieties are close to fully denting, but not quite as far along as these fields are, which works out pretty good actually. I prefer to chop our neighbor's corn first, get that done, then do ours last, and then we'll head right into earlage after that by the looks of it. There is one field of earlage that we might have to do here before we're done with silage. It's a little further along than the rest, and mentioned this before in the past. If you guys have been following along for a while, earlage is pretty critical to get the right moisture. If we get that too dry, then it really needs to be pulverized, and even if you do, it seems like it just doesn't feed as good when it's past 60%. Shooting for 55% dry matter on the earlage. But anyways, I'm gonna check a few more spots in this field. If you guys have any questions, comments, post them down below. We're hoping to get the straw done before silage, but that's not gonna happen by the looks of it, which is fine. We'll just have to make it work. We do need our bigger tractor for packing silage, but we'll be able to keep going with the one tractor. So I'm hoping to get everything off that field that's baled so far, and if they can get baling here today and tomorrow, hopefully we can get a little bit more hauled off before we start on silage here on Wednesday or Thursday, depending on when they get here. But I'm sure I'll keep you guys informed if on the way things turn out as we start going. But should be some silage videos coming up here real soon. Anyways, I appreciate you guys watching, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video.